the whole move towards central bank digital currencies, which is got ahead of steam, is running in parallel with the elimination of cash. So don't lose sight of that, because there's a very strong movement around the world, of which Australia is a part, the United States is certainly a part, to eliminate cash. In the U.S., we have a $100 bill. That's our largest denomination. When I was a teenager, we actually, the U.S. had a $500 bill, and they were in circulation. You could get them. So they eliminated that in 1968. No more $500 bill. And from then on, the $100 bill was the largest denomination. But the difference between then and now is that in 1968, a $100 bill was worth $100. If you adjust for inflation, the $100 bill of 1968 is worth about $20 in purchasing power in today's money. So we're already at a point where our largest denomination is worth $20 in purchasing power, at least compared to the 60s, $100 nominally, but it's greatly shrunk. So we don't have much cash. And by the way, if you want $1 million in $100 bills, that's 10,000 bills. It weighs exactly 22 pounds, and it fits in an attaché case, $1 million in $100 bills. People look at me funny. They go, Jim, how come you know that? Well, first of all, I do know that, but it's really just a math problem, because one bill, whether it's a 1 or 100, but I'm using hundreds because the biggest, weighs a gram. So it's basically 10 grams or 10 kilograms, 10 kilos, or 22.2 pounds. So but that's the point, but we're very far down the road to get them into cash anyway, but you can still do it. You can get your 22 pounds and have your $1 million in cash. So why are they so driven to eliminate cash? What's that got to do with central bank digital currency? Well, now we get into the purpose of the central bank digital currency. And the metaphor I've used is that if you want to slaughter pigs, you have to get all the pigs into a cattle chute and run them into the slaughterhouse and then slaughter them. You can't just let them, run around. You got to herd them up and get them into a cattle chute, or cows for that matter. And so if they want to slaughter savers and investors, they have to get you into a digital slaughterhouse. And that's what digital money is all about. If you can't have cash and you can only have the central bank digital currency, then everyone's got to have a digital account. And once they've got you in the system, of course, they know who you are because it's all digital, and they keep the ledger, back to the ledger. What can they do? Well, they can impose negative interest rates. So you have $100,000 at 1% interest. You go away for a year, you come back, you should have $101,000. But with a negative interest rate of 1%, you go away, come back in a year, and you'd have $99,000. Well, cash is an easy way around that. At least you can bury it in your backyard, but at least you'd have the $100,000 in my example a year later. But with a digital account, they can actually take it out of your account. Number one. Number two, they can put a timestamp or an expiration date on your money and say, okay, here's your money. It's in your account. But if you don't spend 10% of it in the next 30 days, we're going to impose a 2% penalty. We're going to take it away, basically, if you don't spend it. Oh, what does that do? It kind of forces you to spend it. Is that a kind of stimulus? Maybe, I'm not sure. These things don't usually work out as the eggheads plan, but the idea would be if we don't have enough what Keynes called aggregate demand, we'll force people to go buy stuff by telling them if you don't spend it, you lose it, use it or lose it kind of thing. Okay. Withholding taxes. Now, again, in the United States, I think it's similar in Australia. If you have a job, quote unquote, your regular payday, whatever, they pay you, but they deduct the withholding tax at the source, and it's based on the rate. So maybe it's, 20%. So you make $1,000, they take out $200, and here's the $800 net to you. And then at the end of the year, they give you a statement, and you file your tax return, and you claim withholding, and you reconcile your taxes. But that's not true for independent contractors, doctors, lawyers, professionals, writers, anyone who you earn a living, you work, right? But you don't have any withholding tax. But you still have the money still goes in your bank account. Well, now they can just impose the tax on your bank account. Say, well, we see your inflows here. You make a nice living. We're going to take 20% of that. Again, we'll send you a receipt. tax receipt and file your tax return and sort it out at the end of the year. That would come as a shock to a lot of doctors and lawyers. So negative interest rates and withholding taxes are two things that are hard to impose if in a world of cash and non-central bank digital currencies, but they're easy in a world of no cash and central bank digital currencies. It gets worse. I know in promotions you offer the client a few things. And you say, but wait, there's more. Well, it gets worse. For example, this is the culmination. Just kind of cut to the chase. This is the culmination of the total surveillance state. Now, we already have facial recognition software. Very good. It's like your face is like a fingerprint. Everyone's a little different. You say, well, that's okay. I'm going to put a mask on because COVID, and sunglasses, and pull a hat down to my forehead. You'll never see my face. You know what? They have gait recognition software, GAIT, meaning how you walk. Everybody walks differently. Was it that Monty Python thing, the mystery of silly walks? Well, silly or not, everybody walks differently. And so they can actually digitally identify you just by the way you walk.